So you may be dealing with a mosquito issue in the Plano, Texas area. First and foremost, before we dive into this article that I just published for our Plano, Texas customers, if you're new to me and new to my company, my name is Griffin Thomas. I'm actually the owner of the company, Preferred Pest Management in the Plano, Texas area. We've been in business for about 4 years now. And from time to time, I just like to post a video just going over an article that we published recently. I try to publish articles pretty regularly, like every week to 4 weeks at the most, whenever I have time to do so, just to kind of let the public know kind of what's going on season to season. Every season's different. Every year is different with the seasons as well. And this year specifically, we've noticed a large uptick in the mosquito activity in the Plano, Texas area, just due to the amount of rain, obviously, that we had. It's 2024, May of 2024 at the time of me doing this video. And if you guys are watching this either close to that time or maybe even years from now, you'll probably remember just how crazy, one, the severe weather has been in the Plano, Texas area, but also just the amount of rain that we've had lately. And with that, we'll just kind of dive right in. Usually I just kind of go over the headlines and then just kind of speak to kind of, what the article is talking about overall. So we talk about, understanding, the mosquito issues that we have in Plano, Texas. A lot of you guys that have lived here for a while already know that it's very warm, very humid, which makes Plano, like we said here, a hot spot for these types of pests. And they're not just a pest that cause obviously bites and itchy, sensations, but they can also pose serious health risks, as a lot of us know. So with that, there's some common tips that I like to give people in terms of mosquito activity, how you can kind of naturally, not necessarily just solve the issue altogether, but, at least try to mitigate your mosquito issue before even calling us out. Usually what I suggest is if you notice in between you and your neighbor's property, a lot of the property lines are kind of created with like this V. And the issue with that is right in the center. If you don't have something like a French drain installed, there can be lots of puddling. And with that puddling, that gives the mosquitoes a perfect area to go ahead and reproduce. They need that little amount of water to lay their eggs in. And then after rains, they usually hatch. And then that's when you notice the spike in mosquito activity. So trying to limit any type of puddling water is going to help you guys tremendously in terms of your overall, mosquito activity, limiting, bird baths, changing out the water, that type of thing. Obviously gutters and drains, that type of stuff. And yeah, we already talked about French drains as well. And then say you do end up needing a pest control company to come out to do mosquito control. We do offer mosquito control services at Preferred Pest Management. We have a couple different options and we'll go over those here. One option is the Into-Care mosquito system. This is a relatively new, it's been out for a few years now, technology that we actually just started implementing last mosquito season, and we noticed some pretty good results by itself. Pretty much, just to kind of sum all this up, the easiest way that I can describe it is as you can see here, it's a bucket, and it's not like a traditional, trap that you get like at Home Depot or anything like that. This is designed to essentially bring in the, I guess, impregnated mosquitoes that are ready to reproduce. It's going to attract them into there. They're going to lay their eggs all inside of that bucket, and then, essentially just prevents that larva from ever really developing into mosquito activity. We do have to change it out every month. I've actually tested this on my own property in the past, tried to see how long we can, leave it before having to change it out. And after about right at like 4.5 to 5 weeks, we noticed that there were actually some little larvae kind of swimming around in the water, mosquito larvae that is. So yeah, we do have to change that out every month. Generally speaking, if a property only needs 2 of these, which is pretty common, 2, maybe 3 is most of our properties. If you only need 2, generally speaking, we can set this up by itself for right around $120 plus tax. And then to maintain it going forward is usually around $75, $79 a month plus tax. If you need a third one, the price is usually increased by another $30 on the setup, and then an additional $20 each month going forward to maintain that. And then, of course, we have our traditional mosquito spray, like you saw at the very beginning, where we have a mosquito blower. We actually went away from using the blowers. We found a specific method with our traditional backpack that actually works just as good, if not better, because we're actually getting deep into the bushes and being able to, get to where those mosquitoes are most likely to harbor. And going back to that, of course, we do our initial inspection, find those areas we need to spray, go ahead and treat. And yeah, doing that, you can do that by itself as well. That's the thing, is we give you options because we know everyone's budget is different. We know everyone's preferences for getting rid of the mosquitoes are different. And then some yards, in all honesty, don't really have a lot for us to actually spray. So if we don't really have a lot that we can actually spray, a lot of times we'll just start out with the buckets, see if that works for you. And that's the other thing, we don't tie you down to contracts or anything like that. We always say with the mosquito tick and flea treatment specifically, you want to give it usually about 2 or 3 treatment periods. And then if you just don't notice enough results for your liking, then it's no problem. We can go ahead, shake hands, still be friends, and cancel that out for you, and move on, or hopefully maybe try something else. Even if you do the into care, then maybe we'll try the spray, or we'll try both, whatever the case may be. If you do a mosquito spray by itself, some of the benefits versus the into care is going to be, you're going to usually notice immediate results, usually within the first 1 to 3 days, just because obviously when you're spraying, we spray with a chemical that has a knockdown in it, and that knockdown is what really kind of gets control of the issue from the get-go. And then the beauty of the chemicals that we use as well, one is what's called a microencapsulated chemical, which is like, how I describe it in layman terms is, it's like leaving mini time bombs of chemical everywhere that's just slowly releasing to give you more of a longer lasting effect, which works very well for mosquito services. In terms of pricing, the pricing on this can vary a little bit widely depending on, the amount of acreage of your home, how much we're actually going to have to treat. I learned this firsthand when I first started my business. I was kind of doing pretty much flat rate pricing, and some yards required only about 2 gallons of chemical. Then I have some that do 6 to 8 gallons, and that's just obviously a lot more cost for us, a lot more time, etc., from a business standpoint. So usually our minimum from the spray side, if you're doing spray by itself, is usually going to start at the bare minimum around $79. And again, if you're doing that by itself, I should add, we need to do it every 3 weeks. We were doing it monthly by itself, but we noticed that the results just really start to fall off after about 3 weeks, around 20 days. So we just set you up on a tri-weekly plan where every 3 weeks we just hit that. So again, that's going to be at the minimum usually around $79 per treatment, and then it could go upwards as much as around $199 per treatment as well. Again, that's going to be more of a larger property, a lot of stuff to spray. And then the beauty though, if you go ahead and decide that you want to do the into care and the spray, you don't need the spray every 3 weeks at that point. Then you actually combine the two methods. We only need to do that once a month, and the results are very, very, very good. We usually notice upwards of 80 to 95% reduction, never 100% obviously, because you don't just have a dome over your property where no mosquitoes can get in, but we usually notice very, very good results. And to compare that, if you do the into care by itself, I usually tell people you're going to notice a bare minimum of about a 60% to upwards of 80% reduction. And then if you're doing the spray by itself on an every 3 week basis, you're going to usually notice somewhere around like a 70 to maybe best case scenario 90%. If there's no rain during that 3 weeks and all that type of stuff, everything just works perfectly. But when you combine the two together, you're usually looking at a worst case scenario around 80-90%, and best case 90-95%. So definitely, and then lastly, of course, in terms of the pricing, usually by bundling the two, we can kind of, work out some kind of deal with you where, we just kind of average everything together, if that makes sense. And the initial service, getting everything set up on that, is usually going to be at the minimum around $149 plus tax at the minimum. And then on the highest end, you're usually looking at an initial service cost of around $199. And then again, that would just be somewhere around like $199 to $225 a month going forward. Again, that we're talking pretty large properties when you're talking that side of things. Most people are usually going to be somewhere around $129 a month, give or take, plus or minus, $10 to $20 per month going forward on that specific treatment plan. And then of course at the very end, we have a little section, and I'll link this article below if you guys like want to just take a look overall, or maybe you want to look through our website overall, whatever the case may be. I'll link that down below if you want to read the whole thing. Of course, you can read through all of our 115 plus reviews. We're getting reviews usually on a daily to weekly basis. And then we do more than just the Plano, Texas area, but Plano is obviously kind of the largest suburb that we do treat. If you're new to me, again, my name is Griffin Thomas. If you do decide to reach out to us, usually it'll either be me or my wife answering the phones and scheduling the services and answering any questions you may have. If I don't answer, it usually means that I'm in a customer's home doing a treatment, something of that nature. And you can text us as well. That number you can text or call, that is on our website directly. And just to recap real quick what we discussed in this video, we talked about mosquitoes and the problems they can present to homeowners and business owners in the Plano, Texas area. We talked about the different treatment methods we do for mosquito control in Plano here at Preferred Pest Management. We talked about the Into Care mosquito system. We talked about our tri-weekly mosquito spray that again goes down to a monthly spray if you actually use the two together for the most optimal results. And then we talked about, of course, how you can look through all of our reviews. We get reviews on a daily to weekly basis for the most part, and this updates as we get our Google reviews as well. You can look us up on Google as well. We do have a Google business profile that you can actually find if you just type in Preferred Pest Management Plano, Texas. That'll pull up, and you can look at our over 115 five-star reviews. We don't have anything but five-star reviews, and we pride ourselves on that because we provide the best service at the best rates possible. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Our phone number is plastered everywhere online, on our website, on our Google page, Facebook, wherever you look us up. And if you have any questions and you're watching this on YouTube as well, you can drop a comment down below and I try to respond to those whenever I see them. I thank you for tuning in. Like I said, if you want to look at this article or check us out on our website, link for that will be in the description box. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you won't miss any of these future videos that, if nothing else, will hopefully teach you a few things about our industry, and I look forward to earning your trust in business.